Introducing our final speaker of the evening, Nisha Moodley.
Wow, you all are delicious. Thank you for that warm welcome. As I was getting ready for today, I was thinking about how fortunate I am. Spent the last several weeks tackling the art of public speaking, not a skill that is required for my survival on the planet, but I did it because I wanted to, because I chose it. And as I was putting on this dress, I was thinking about how grateful I feel to have found this dress. I feel really good in it. Thank you. As you can see, it's not exactly a utilitarian piece of clothing. I didn't buy it because I needed it. I bought it because I wanted it, because I chose it. And these experiences, these things, are proof that I have some level of freedom. The American dream is defined as a set of ideals in which success and prosperity are measurements of freedom, and that we can all have that freedom with a little bit of hard work. And this is awesome. The promise is that we're all created equal, and with a bit of elbow grease, we can all have the kind of success and affluence that we want. And we're taught that this is what freedom is, and freedom is available to everybody. But what if freedom is not just about being able to have experiences and stuff, or even being able to sit at the front of the bus? These are all wonderful, outward, extrinsic expressions of freedom, but I've been on a lifelong quest to find out what is internal, intrinsic freedom. What does it mean to be free? So today, we're going to talk about a new paradigm for freedom and why I believe that women's freedom is what we need in this world more than anything. Yeah. 10 years ago, I had left my hometown for the first time. This was a big deal for me. Packed my boxes, quit my job, left my family, my friends, and set off to the big city, Vancouver, Canada, to live with the love of my life. And 6 months later, I was packing my boxes because it hadn't worked out. And I was really, truly heartbroken. I was living in this new city. I only had a couple of friends, didn't have my love. My job wasn't feeling satisfying anymore. I felt really alone, really empty. And so I did what any smart early 20-something woman having an existential crisis would do, and I hauled myself off to yoga. And at this particular yoga class, at the end of class, we were sitting on our yoga mats having a discussion with our teacher, and she told us a story that changed my life forever. And I'm going to tell you that story now. She told us about a Tibetan monk who for 33 years had been imprisoned for his peaceful practices. Every day, for 33 years, he was tortured, he was beaten, starved. When he was released, he was asked, "What was the most challenging moment for you in this 33 years?" Listening to that question, I remember thinking, this is an impossible question. How do you pick the most challenging moment out of 33 years of torture? And his answer was this. He said, "The most challenging moment for me was when I almost stopped feeling compassion for the man who was beating me." listening to that story, I felt the most incredible shame come over me. Who am I to think that I have problems? Yes, I'd just broken up with my boyfriend and I was brokenhearted and I was really sad. But I had a great life. I had a super supportive family. I had great friends. I had a job. I had my health. What right did I have to be upset? And yet, for as long as I could remember, I had felt this nagging sense of emptiness inside of me that I had been trying to fill with stuff because I so wanted to feel whole. I'd spent the last several years on weekends popping pills at raves, trying to feel some sense of internal joy. I had closets that were bulging with shoes in every color to go with every outfit I had bought them, hoping to feel better about myself. And I was really good at eating lots and lots and lots and lots of food to cover up and push down all the uncomfortable emotions. And no one knew that I was feeling this emptiness or that I was trying so desperately to fill it with all this stuff because I looked much the same way that I do now. I was outgoing, had it together. I remember at one of the lowest moments of my food addiction, I had left my house and ran up the street to the 7-Eleven. I bought 5 large bags of potato chips, brought them home, stuffed the shopping bags under a bush outside the back door, checked to make sure no one was looking, grabbed the bags, ran up the stairs, put them under my bed, sat on my bed, and proceeded to eat 5 large bags of potato chips, every last chip. Sitting there on my yoga mat, trying to figure out why had I felt this emptiness for so long, and how on earth would I ever feel whole? Because I so desperately wanted the kind of freedom that it seemed like that monk had, and I wanted him to have the kind of freedom that I had been taking for granted my whole life. And that's when I realized that there is a new paradigm of freedom. That we can go after what we want and have stuff, all of these worldly, extrinsic expressions of freedom, and to have an internal, intrinsic sense of freedom, of wholeness, regardless of our circumstances. As I walked home from yoga that day, I made myself a promise. I promised myself that somehow, some way, I was going to find my freedom. And I did not know how. And somehow, some way, I was going to help other people find their freedom too. So that's what I've done. For the last 10 years, I've immersed myself in being a student of freedom. And as I picked the locks on my shackles around food addiction, I was able to go on and help other women find freedom with food and their bodies as well. And as I overcame my intense workaholism, I was able to, and still do, help women design businesses and lives that feel like just pure fun and freedom to them. And there's something that I've learned in these 10 years of obsessing about freedom, if you will, and helping women find their freedom. And that is that as women, we are awesome, natural caretakers, right? We are. And when we attend to our own freedom, when we make sure that we're getting what we need and we feel whole regardless of what we have, we can alchemize that incredible, natural caretaking into awesome change-making in the world. As our freedom deepens, our ripple effect broadens. Sounds good, right? So how did I find that sense of wholeness, though, when I felt empty? How did I bridge the gaps over to my freedom? GAPS. First, generosity. I hear women being told a lot, don't give too much. People will take you for granted. You'll lose yourself. There won't be enough left for you. And I had to learn to be generous again, to give my compassion, to give my forgiveness, to be generous to myself and to other people, because as a woman, it feels really good to give. Next was appreciation. So when I was in the darkest points of my compulsion, I could have written you a mile-long list of all the things that were wrong with my life and had much more attention over there than on all the things that were right. And I had to learn to appreciate that job that I wasn't feeling so much anymore, because you know what? It was paying the bills and putting a roof over my head. And although I had been struggling with my body, she had been a real good home to me all these years. And eventually I've come to appreciate more and more all the struggles in my life, because those struggles have helped me be the incredible caretaker that I am and alchemize that into being an awesome change maker, helping other women. P is for play. So I overcame my food addiction by learning to play with my food. It's true. By learning to chew my food, to taste it, to feel the texture of the food in my mouth, to savor it, to play with it. And I overcame my workaholism by learning to engage, to play. In my last relationship, we had a really intense argument one day, and I escaped the argument by running to my laptop. I'm writing my newsletter, and I had a moment where I realized, well, this is unhealthy. I did not need to escape all of the feelings. I needed to stay. I needed to engage. I needed to play with our frustrations, with our differences, with our misunderstandings. And finally, S is for sisterhood. It's true that we are natural caretakers, right? We make sure that everyone is taken care of, that everyone is fed. And somewhere down, pretty low on the list, comes us. And that actually might be okay if we were still living in really close-knit communities with other women who made sure that we were okay, who made sure that our desires were heard, whose list we were on. So if you want to be listened to and nurtured and have your flames fanned, be in community with those who naturally listen and nurture and encourage, and those are your sisters. It's us here. And I really had to learn to share with my sisters, to tell them what was really going on with me beneath the shiny veneer, to share myself with them. So when I've felt empty, the way that I bridge the gaps to feeling whole is with generosity, appreciation, play, and sisterhood. So where do you need to bridge the gaps to your freedom? And I want to leave you with one thing. This is the only thing you take from my talk. It's cool. So most of us, or maybe all of us, have heard that famous Gandhi quote, "Be the change you wish to see in the world." And more recently, the Dalai Lama stated that the world will be saved by the Western woman. And bringing these together, I believe that the world will be set free by the woman who is free. Thank you.